In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a ceramic textured slab fish. So the first thing that we want to do is make sure that we have paper down on the table from under the black arrow, a clay board, a little cup, a yogurt cup of water, not the ones that we have over by the sink, but the ones in the clay center. You can get a little silicone cupcake wrapper, and you should also have a skewer and a tool that you can cut with, which I like to call a knifey tool. There's other tools that we'll be using a little later in there, but you don't need those right away. What we're gonna do, a slab is a thin piece of clay that was rolled out. People can roll it out with a rolling pin, but to save time, since we have such a short class, I am just going to give it to you already rolled out. You're gonna choose one of the patterns of fish that you like. There's a lot of different kinds, and you're gonna make sure that you fit it on there so that the whole thing is on before you start tracing. Then you're gonna take your skewer. This is called a skewer. It's a little pointy piece of wood, and you're going to draw along the edge. So right now, I'm not cutting, I'm tracing. So I'm using it to draw almost like it's a pencil. Holding it the same way I would hold a pencil. And I am going to trace the whole outline of the fish before I cut. So you always want to trace before you cut. Once I have the outline like this, I'm going to take my cutting tool and I'm going to start where it's closest and I'm going to cut into it. Now, if I'm in an area where there's a really sharp turn, I can pick it up and keep going, but I don't want to chop at it like this because then I'm going to get really raggedy edges. So if your hand gets tired at some point, you're in the middle of a line, just leave it there and take a break, and then you can go right off the edge like that. Put your clay aside. Okay, and then we can go down here. So I'm just cutting around the edge right now. Okay, and your clay on the side, just kind of keeping a little squished pile. So any direction that you're comfortable cutting this in, it's fine because you already traced it. So you know exactly what your fish should look like. All right. Once you have done this, I would like you to write your name and your class code. So 3S or F or whatever it is. On the back of the fish with the skewer, write your first and last name, so really nice and neat. You have plenty of space to do that, and then turn it over. Now, before you do any decorating, I want you to hold the fish in your hand, not have it down on the board because it's going to stick to the board if you do this step on the board. Hold it in your hand, wet your fingers, so put them in the little cup of water, and I want you to rub the edges. This is going to smooth them out because right now they might look a little raggedy, but also from you cutting them and them being very straight, when these are dried and fired, those edges will be very sharp. So if you were to hold it, it could cut you. So we want to make sure that it's smooth and rounded on the edges. Once we've done that, we can smooth the top out to get rid of that little canvas texture. You can add a little bit of water if you want as well. You just don't want it to be sopping wet. Sometimes I see students use way too much water, and that can actually make it just kind of muddy almost. And also just make sure that you're not doing this where you're smoothing it down, because then look, it's gonna stick right to there. So we don't want that to happen. What we're going to do now is we're gonna use some different tools to decorate our fish. So one of the things that we have available, we have different kinds of found objects like markers and things. You can use those to make eyes. You can also draw them if you want. You can use the back side like I did here. You can also do like a little mouth and you can make it expressive if you want. If you want to do anything cute like eyelashes or something, that's fine. Now this silicone cupcake wrapper is a really nice tool for us to use to make the texture of the fins. So I'm going to actually put it right above it, and I have my thumb inside and I'm pressing and rolling it right along the edge there. So when I pick it up, I have that nice texture. I'm also going to do that on the fin at the bottom here. And I am also going to do it on the little back fin here. Now I'm going to do some scales. So there's a lot of different ways you can do scales with different found objects. I'm going to use a marker cap, but I'll have other things like straws and things like that that you can use as well. And so you're not going to do it the full thing like that, like a full circle. You're going to sort of angle it like this, as if you're writing, and then push half of it in. And as you're pushing it in, you're going to get those scales, okay? And you're going to do the whole body all the way across. You can do the face if you want, or you don't have to. That's your choice. Different fish have different types of texture. Usually their big scales are more toward their belly. So you're going to do the whole body like this. If there's any other textures you want to make here, you certainly can. And then once you have the part where the whole belly is covered and you're done with your textures, you're going to give it to me. I'm going to drill a little hole in the top so that when it's fired, you can hang it like a decoration. And this will be ready to be fired and painted.